What is up, bros and broettes? Luchazar here, and today we're taking a dive into how to filter training content online based on the goals we desire to yield. Nowadays, the fitness space has become immensely saturated with quote-unquote experts, who are often self-proclaimed but have no official recognition. We also have fitness professionals who don't do their homework, so they compile sloppy training examples without grounding them in research or an otherwise sound training philosophy. I do have the habit of calling out creators, or whatever it is you want to call them, in the comment sections of online content, which usually gets ignored, or I get into petty debates grounded in the protection of their posted content, regardless if they are right or wrong. This is partially why I decided creating this page, as I happen to actually have qualifications and ground my argumentation in both research and empirical evidence where research is limited. Unlike Bulletproof, who have a big following, this guy does not, and he shall remain nameless because I don't desire driving clout to misinformation. Today I will exemplify with a random video I came across online while scrolling. I happened to recognize one of our local gyms in Malta and stopped for a moment, and regretted stopping a few seconds later. This video was captioned "Superset shoulder training, high intensity, no breaks, this is how boulder shoulders are built." Wow, bold claim if you ask me. Now, for most viewers who have a slight idea about training, I don't really need to explain anything, as they're probably cleansing their eyeballs with lemon juice and throat with vodka after seeing this. Others may say, "Oh come on, give the guy a break, he's just filmed himself trying to train." And I would reply to you, if that were the case, I would not pick on him. Maybe giggle a little at his subpar form, and continue scrolling to the next heresy Instagram treats me with. The problem lies with the misinformation that is spread to people who don't really know how to train. In fact, I commented with, "This may be some functional training technique for judo, but definitely not how boulder shoulders are built. Train like this and your joints will be screaming before you know it." The response I got was best described as interesting. After 12 years, didn't happen. For sure will not happen now. All depends from person to person and lifestyle. Those kind of injuries are happening when the muscle, it is growing so fast that joints, ligaments and tendons can't follow. Now, I'm not going to be picking on the lack of literacy and pidgin English used, but to my understanding, what he said was that he trained like this for 12 years without injuring himself, and variation between individuals matters, whereby he thinks that this happens solely due to the inability of joints and connective tissue keeping up with the muscle growth and strength. I'll get back to this in a minute, as he was not addressing the elephant in the room here, which I quickly reverted to. Even if that's the case, fact is that you're not going to be stimulating muscular hypertrophy effectively. Zero control, zero time under tension. Zero! There's a lot of swinging and momentum, which is not, again, how boulder shoulders are built. One would think, okay, points make sense, and clearly I know a thing or two when it comes to building muscle. Nope, not this guy.
We can debate about this, but will not reach anywhere. Your opinion, it is based only on bodybuilding, again from the competitor side. Again, that's opinion that you have and many more. But again, this, it is mine and of many more. We can look, for example, weightlifters, how they perform this kind of exercises, wrestlers with an R, judo guys, and so on and so on. So many of them that look of them would say different. Then again, even from the view of many bodybuilders, look how they train Ronnie, Branch Warren, Kevin, and many of them. Another thing it is that we can't compare with most of them, that they hold on that opinion. As them, they have 130 kilo plus. Me and you, 80, 90 kilo. This kind of thing can't be the same. And plus other stuff that there is no need to mention that it affecting.
Now, in this long-winded word salad, what I believe he meant to say was that it's simply our opinions on training techniques that vary. And he brought forward examples of variety of athletes performing the exercises differently, alongside open bodybuilders who he seems to think somehow train differently, and implied the use of performance-enhancing drugs. At this point I thought, surely this guy knows he's talking nonsense, and I tried alluding to the absolute contradictions he himself was stating. I told him, You said it yourself, how weightlifters, wrestlers, judists perform this exercise. Is their goal to build shoulders? No. Their goal is functional training, which is what I said. Ronnie, Branchwarren and others all share the same basic training principles, despite different repetition range and adjustment for bodily differences. I can assure you, none of them jump around using their legs when doing a military press like you. Me? I'm close to 100 kilos, but that is irrelevant. Training principles don't change with performance-enhancing supplements or natural training. Good form counts the same for a 50 and 150 kilo individual. No hate, buddy. I can see you're training for your sport. Only the title is misleading when you claim this training is for building shoulders, because that would categorically be wrong, no matter how you look at it. He somehow decided that I am still wrong and decided to reply with,
I'm not sure if we talk about same branch, Ronnie, Kevin, all of them that I mentioned was not following the principle that you mentioned. You want to tell me that guys that are coming from the sports I didn't mention above don't have developed bodies like that? Especially shoulders. Again, above in the title there is no written competitor shoulders or something similar. You're 100 kilo comparing to 130 or more of them, of course it is not comparable. And of course the training it is not the same. And again, as I said, there is so much more stuff that comes with it. On that level, it is a completely different dimension.
I was increasingly becoming sure that this guy is living in a sweet delusion. But I took a final breath and decided to give it one last go. Unless you're talking about Ronnie Coleman, Branchwarren and Kevin Levrone, then we might be talking about different people. And yes, they all follow basic bodybuilding principles. I would challenge you to find me one video of any of these guys doing a military press while using leg drive like you. Any one of them. I'm not saying that weightlifters and judists haven't got developed shoulders. All I said was this is not how you build shoulders. It's like saying, you think a sprinter's legs are not developed? No. But is a sprinter's training directly targeting building legs? No. They're trying to run faster. Leg development is a lateral or side outcome of their training, not the main goal. Body builders aim at building shoulders, not becoming stronger, not performing, not running, building. So which is the best way to build shoulders? Look, I don't want to debate you, we can agree to disagree. To which he basically agreed. But he then followed up with doing an almost 20-minute video explaining how we have different opinions. Jesus Christ on a tricycle, I know, right? Anyways, I'm gonna put this on 2x as long-winded word salads are apparently his dish.
So I'm 12 years in sport, I'm even more, but say it. 12 years in fitness, to call like that now. Bodybuilding, powerlifting, CrossFit, whatever it is, everything it goes under that. So everything is based on fitness. So everything, each exercise that, each lift that all of us we are performing, it's the same, you know? If it's bodybuilding, if it's powerlifting, if it's weightlifting, if it's so many things, it's under the same thing. Even if you're a wrestler, if you're a judoka, if you're in gymnastic, all of boxers, kickboxers, MMA, all of the guys are using the training that is based with weights. Obviously, somebody more, somebody less. Somebody with more weight, somebody with less. Somebody with more repetition, somebody with less. And so on and so on and so on.
No, my guy. While exercises may indeed overlap, they are performed in a completely different demeanor. Whereby, for instance, your military press or whatever you are doing, because you'd really have to squint to call that the military press, but to each their own, is more of an explosive movement focusing on power. And power is the fitness component that combines strength and speed. It is definitely very different to what a bodybuilder does, which is aiming at recruiting as much shoulder muscles, which we call agonists or primary movers, and as little synergists as possible, like your legs when you jump around. In that way, the muscles receiving the most stimulus are the shoulders themselves, not spreading the load between your legs, your hips, and some shoulders like yourself. In turn, the responsive adaptation results in growth, or building said shoulders. Not getting too technical there, am I?
The most of the time when the joints are impact, it is because the muscle is developing too fast, and joints, tendons, ligaments are not following. And 99% of the time it is because over there it is involved enhancement. You know, so I'm not going to enter so deep in it, but that is 99% of the time that it is. As the muscle, it will grow so fast, you will get so stronger, but the tendons, ligaments and joints cannot follow the muscle. Simply cannot, because muscle is growing and getting stronger much harder and much before the rest of the things.
Now, small pause, because this guy is conflating two completely different things, and again is talking from a perspective of a hobbyist, not a fitness professional, where he's partially right in asserting factual data but not connecting the dots. Exponential muscle growth and strength due to performance-enhancing drugs is indeed something very possible, which in turn leads to potential injuries. However, that would be in the case of increasing the weight used way too quickly, rather than exercise execution. These are two completely different types of injuries, as you can clearly see here, which I never argued to begin with. This is also why bodybuilding has one of, if not the lowest injury rate among all strength sports. Namely because we focus on form execution and time under tension, rather than moving a weight from point A to point B. Like what you are doing.
So, not only bodybuilders, they have boulder shoulders, develop shoulders, and as I'm saying, I'm not bodybuilder.
No way, you're not a bodybuilder. I would have never guessed. I'm just kidding.
Yes, the exercises that I'm performing, they are the exercises that is performed by bodybuilders.
No, they're not exercises that bodybuilders perform. We actually have good controlled form. We don't throw weights around, we lift with actual intention.
But the boulder shoulders I have. You have my videos, you have my photos, you can see my shoulders are boulder.
I think this guy doesn't know the actual definition of boulder. Well, if you consider those to be boulders, okay, I guess.
So me, this what I'm doing, it's working perfectly fine for me.
Exactly, we're finally getting to the meat and potatoes of the argument. This is what you do for your shoulders. I would have never commented on your video to begin with if that's how you named it. But when you title your video, "This is how boulder shoulders are built," you are in essence saying that this is how things should be done. And that is misinformation. That is where we start having problems.
So the thing it is that I'm talking here about basic development of the muscles, strength, endurance, and so on and so on and so on.
Okay, this is where we're starting to align. If you named your video "This is how I gained shoulder strength and endurance," checkmate. I have no problem with that. But again, this is not how boulder shoulders are built.
Another thing for me, if you're looking huge, you're looking big, ripped, and for me doesn't mean nothing. Because 99% of these guys are limited, on the other stuff. So your strength, it's not there. Your endurance, it's not there. Many things is not there.
Again, very interesting claims here. So you claim your shoulders are boulders, which, okay, compared to general population, they likely are indeed bigger. But then you go on to say that bodybuilders or people that are huge and ripped doesn't mean anything because the strength is not there? You do realize that you are contradicting yourself yet again. I'm a men's physique competitor, a bodybuilder, whatever. And let's hypothetically say that I can bench 100 kilos. In reality I can do more, but let's say that that's all I can do for the argument's sake. So to you, my strength is not there, right? Fair enough. You probably can do a lot more yourself. However, if we look at statistics, for men aged 18 to 50, only 1.14% can bench press 100 kilos. And if we consider all male population, we end up with 0.4% that can bench 100 kilos. So by your own standards, I am somebody who can go online and tell people how to get strong in the bench press, just because I statistically have a strong bench. You do realize how ridiculous this sounds, right? But then again, I'm not actually doing that. I'm staying in my lane, which is bodybuilding, and I'm not giving advice on a domain which I'm clueless about.
Another thing I mentioned, the guys, like it was Ronnie Coleman, Kevin LeBron, Brent Warren, and so on and so on and so on. They don't have the same training. You know, you have Milo Sarcevic, which is coming from my country, which I respect him so much. For me, one of the best physiques ever. For me. Shaped perfectly. But guys, this guy never was so close like the guys, it's, you know, like Kevin LeBron, like Ronnie Coleman, like the similar guys, because they were far bigger than him. And their exercising and his, it was not the same.
Buddy, nobody's arguing that there's a one-size-fits-all training method and technique for optimal muscle building. However, all the bodybuilders you mentioned do follow the same core basic training principles. None of them are doing hill sprints for legs, clean and jerks for shoulders, and human flags for abs. The variation they have is minor technical adjustments according to bodily proportions. So the form of one squat may differ based on leg length, for instance. This also includes weight used and repetition range, which can all vary. But they still sit on the same core basic training principles. And that is not a matter of opinion like you're claiming it to be.
And still, when you're 80 kilograms, 90, 100, or 130, 40, 50, it's not the same training.
Here's another misconception. The training is absolutely the same regardless of your weight. What varies is the weight used, and perhaps frequency of training. If you are a beginner, and your body can recover from a leg day in 3 days, for example, you can train legs again on the 4th day. If you're a 120 kilogram bodybuilder and you hit your legs, due to their size and recovery recruitment, it may take you 7-8 days or more to fully recover your legs and train them again. That, however, does not change how you perform a military press, or the exercise selection you use. There is no rules of, well, if you're under 80 kilos, you should do regular bicep curls. But once you get over 80 kilos, they will stop working and you need to switch to hammer curls. This makes no sense whatsoever. Training is the same in all weight categories, and I encourage viewers to filter out where they get their information from, because somebody like this guy can definitely steer you down the wrong path.
Another thing, again, now I'm doing even judo, so even the things that I'm doing that it will help me in those kind of stuff, you know? Like, as you can see, sometimes I'm doing pull-ups with the towel. Sometimes when I'm doing as for example, this exercise of the shoulders that I'm doing, for me, it played the big role in making the training for judo easier and better. So that's why as well that I'm doing.
Alas, there you go. This is not how boulder shoulders are built. This is an exercise to help you with your judo. Not so hard to name it as such now, is it? Christ almighty.
How many guys you know that they're doing this street workout? That they don't go in the gym. I know them a lot. And that they're looking really, really nice. Their shoulders are developed, back, chest, you know, and they look amazing. A lot of them, they're looking far better than me. I'm going to give you one example. I have one of the guys that I met recently. So he likes to train outside, doing the pull-ups, running. I think as well he's doing the swimming. And now sometimes he's training with us in the gym. Guys, this guy, he's maybe looking a bit more skinnier, but he's far taller than me. But if you look how his muscles are developed, the shape of his muscles I like much more than mine. Honestly, I'm stronger, but his muscles are much better shaped. His triceps, he's leaner even than me, you know. His triceps, it's looking perfect. You know. His shape, you know. His shoulders are not so big, but they're shaped nice, and you can see through the t-shirt, you know. So, this kind of stuff, you don't need to be a bodybuilder so you'll have something developed or to achieve something.
Nobody's arguing that there are calisthenics guys that look excellent. But again, they don't pose their training in light of building their shoulders or arms or whatever. They simply try to get better at bodyweight movement. And the inherent muscular development is something that happens alongside their main goal. It's not replacing it. Anyway, takeaway here is that you should always question content online. Seek for formal education, credibility, and rationale behind whatever is being shown. I hope this video has been educational on what not to do to build boulder shoulders. Do let me know and I will gladly show you an evidence-based workout you can perform with literature backing up my claims, rather than a compilation of whatever I seem to feel like doing for shoulders on a given day, and shooting some sloppy nonsensical workout with false claims. That's gonna make it for this video, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.